I was born in a house where love was poor, but sacrifice was rich. My earliest memory is not of toys or laughter. It is of my mother sitting near a small window, sewing clothes late at night under a dim bulb. Her fingers were rough, her eyes tired, but her heart was endless. Every stitch she made was for me. Every breath she took carried my name. My father died when I was very young. I don't remember his face clearly, but I remember the day my mother stopped smiling. From that day on, she became both mother and father. She never complained. Not once. When other children went to school with new bags and clean uniforms, I went wearing patched clothes and worn shoes. But my mother always made sure my books were clean, my hair was combed, and my heart was full. "Study well," she would whisper, pressing my head to her chest. "One day, you'll become someone. That will be my reward." She worked in other people's houses, washing dishes, cleaning floors, sometimes cooking meals she could never afford to eat herself. Many days, she returned home exhausted, her back aching, her feet swollen. Yet she would still ask me, "Are you hungry?" even when she hadn't eaten all day. I didn't understand her sacrifices back then. I was just a child. I thought this was normal. I thought mothers were made of stone, unable to feel pain. I was wrong. Years passed. I grew older. I studied hard, not because I was ambitious, but because I didn't want my mother to cry anymore. The day I got my first job, my mother cried like a child. "Now I can rest," she said, wiping her tears. "Now my son can stand on his own feet." That night, she cooked my favorite food using money she had secretly saved. She smiled while watching me eat, as if my happiness was her only meal. Soon after, relatives started speaking. "It's time he gets married. He needs a wife now." My mother stayed silent one night. She finally asked me gently, "Do you want to marry?" I said yes, not because I was ready, but because everyone expected me to be. That decision changed everything. I met my wife through family connections. She was educated, confident, and beautiful. She spoke well, dressed well, and knew how to make an impression. My mother looked at her with hopeful eyes. "This girl will be the daughter I never had." My mother whispered to me after the engagement. I wish I had known then how wrong she was. After marriage, my wife moved into our small home. From the very first day, I noticed something change in the air. The house felt heavier, quieter. My mother tried her best to make her feel comfortable. She woke up early, cooked fresh meals, cleaned the house, and stayed out of the way. But nothing was ever enough. "This food has no taste. Why is the house so old? Why does your mother interfere in everything?" At first, the words were soft. Then they became sharp. Then they became cruel. My mother never replied. She never raised her voice. She would only lower her eyes and quietly walk away. I noticed it all, and yet, I stayed silent. One evening, I came home tired from work. I heard raised voices from inside. "I can't live like this." My wife shouted, "Your mother controls this house." I feel suffocated. I stood outside the door, frozen. My mother's voice was barely audible. "I don't want control, Beta. I just want peace." Then came the words that still burn my soul. "She should leave. Either she goes or I will." My heart started pounding. My mind screamed, "Say something," but my mouth stayed shut. I walked inside. My wife looked at me, waiting. My mother looked at me too, her eyes full of fear, hope, and trust. "I chose wrong, please. Try to understand her," I said softly to my mother. That was the moment my mother broke. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She simply nodded. That night, my mother packed a small bag. Just a few clothes. No jewelry. No memories, only pain. She stood at the door, holding her bag with trembling hands. "I won't be a burden," she said quietly. "Take care of yourself." I wanted to stop her. I wanted to run to her. I wanted to say, "Stay," but my legs wouldn't move. She stepped outside and disappeared into the darkness. I told myself she would return. I told myself this was temporary. I was wrong. The next morning, the house felt empty. The house felt empty, too empty. Her prayer mat was gone. Her cup was missing. The corner where she used to sit was cold. Days passed. Then weeks. No calls. No messages. I went to relatives' houses. 2 neighbors. 2 places she used to visit. No one had seen her. That's when fear turned into panic, and panic turned into guilt. I still search for her. Every old woman I see on the street makes my heart stop. Every voice that sounds like hers brings tears to my eyes. I replayed that night again and again. If only I had spoken. If only I had protected her. If only I had chosen my mother. But time does not listen to regret. My wife sleeps beside me every night. And yet, I feel more alone than ever, because the woman who gave me life is lost and I am the reason. The house was still standing, but its soul was gone. After my mother left, everything felt unfamiliar. The walls echoed with silence. The mornings no longer began with the soft sound of her prayers. No warm voice asked me if I had eaten. No gentle footsteps moved around the house, only quiet. At first, my wife seemed relieved. "Now it's just us," she said one night, smiling. "This is how married life should be." I nodded, but my heart refused to agree. I tried to call my mother. Her phone was switched off. I told myself she needed time. I told myself she would come back once things calmed down, but deep inside, I felt something heavy pressing on my chest, something I couldn't escape. At work, I couldn't focus. At home, I couldn't rest. Every corner of the house reminded me of her. The kitchen reminded me of her tired hands. The window reminded me of her waiting eyes. The door reminded me of the night I failed her sometimes. Late at night, I thought I heard her coughing in the next room the way she used to when her chest hurt in winter. I would wake up suddenly and then remember she was gone slowly. My wife changed. The same woman who once spoke softly now spoke harshly. The same smile that once attracted me now felt cold. She complained about everything. This house is too small. My life is wasted here. You should earn more. And then, one day she said the words that shattered what little peace I had left. I don't regret what I did, she said casually. She was ruining our life. I looked at her, shocked. She's my mother, I whispered. So, she replied, you chose me. Those words cut deeper than any knife. I couldn't stay still anymore. Every weekend, I went searching. I checked old neighborhoods, bus stations, mosques, shelters. I asked people, have you seen an elderly woman? Simple clothes, kind eyes. Some shook their heads. Some ignored me. Some looked at me with pity. One old man said, mothers don't disappear without pain. Sons push them away. I couldn't answer him because he was right. One evening, I found her old shawl in a cupboard. The moment I touched it, my hands started shaking. I remembered how she used to wrap it around her shoulders on cold nights, pretending she wasn't freezing. I sat on the floor and cried for the first time since she left. I'm sorry, Amy, I whispered. I failed you, but apologies mean nothing when the person is gone soon. My marriage began to crack. My wife became impatient, angry, and distant. Nothing I did pleased her. You're always sad, she said. You're weak because of that woman. That woman. The words burned my ears. One night, during an argument, I finally spoke. She gave me everything, I said, and I gave her nothing but silence. My wife laughed. Then go and cry for her. Don't ruin my life. That night I slept on the floor alone, haunted. Empty. I realized something painful. A house without a mother's blessings slowly destroys itself. Money disappeared. Peace disappeared. Love disappeared. Even food tasted different, dry. Lifeless. I started falling sick often. Headaches. Sleepless nights. A constant heaviness in my heart. Doctors said stress. But I knew the real disease. It was regret. One day while searching near a bus stop, a woman stopped me. Are you looking for an old lady? She asked. My heart jumped. She used to sit here, the woman said. She spoke kindly to everyone. She was waiting for someone. Where is she now? I asked desperately. The woman shook her head. She left one morning, said her son would never come. Those words crushed me because she was right. I didn't come. Hope is a dangerous thing. It keeps you alive, and it keeps you suffering. After that woman at the bus stop spoke about my mother, I couldn't sleep for nights. My heart kept repeating her words. She was waiting for someone. That someone was me, and I never came. I began searching more desperately. I took leave from work. I walked streets I had never walked before. I visited places where forgotten people go, shelters, old clinics, small mosques, charity kitchens. Everywhere I went, I asked the same question. Have you seen an elderly woman? Gentle voice, tired eyes, always praying. Some people nodded slowly, yes. Maybe she looked lost. She talked about her son. Each answer gave me hope, and then broke it again. One volunteer at a shelter finally said something that froze my blood. She was sick, the woman told me. She coughed a lot. She refused medicine, said she didn't want to be a burden anymore. I felt dizzy that my mother had always hidden her pain on my way home. Memories attacked me like punishment. How she used to hold her chest at night. How she would smile and say, it's nothing. How I never took her to a doctor. Because I was busy. Because I was careless. Because I thought she would always be there. I whispered to myself, you chose comfort over her life. And the truth hurt more than lies ever could. On my way home, memories attacked me like punishment. How she used to hold her chest at night. How she would smile and say, it's nothing. How I never took her to a doctor because I was busy. Because I was careless. Because I thought she would always be there. I whispered to myself, you chose comfort over her life. And the truth hurt more than lies ever could. That night, I told my wife what I had learned. She was sick. I said, she was alone. My wife didn't look surprised. She didn't look sorry. She's not our responsibility anymore. She replied coldly, you should move on. I stared at her. How can you say that? I asked. She gave birth to me. She shrugged, and I'm your wife. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. I didn't lose my mother that night. I lost my marriage too. Our fights became frequent. She accused me of being weak, of living in the past, of loving my mother too much. I accused myself silently because she was right about one thing. I loved my mother, but I didn't protect her. One afternoon, I followed a lead to a small clinic. An old doctor listened carefully as I described my mother. He nodded slowly. Yes, he said. She came here once, very frail, very tired. My heart nearly stopped. Where is she now? I asked. The doctor sighed. She refused admission. Said she needed to go somewhere. He paused, then added softly, she kept saying, my son will come. He just needs time. I couldn't breathe, even when abandoned. She believed in me. I left the clinic and sat on the roadside. People passed by. Cars honked. Life moved on. Mine had stopped. I finally understood something too late. A mother doesn't curse her child. She waits for him even when he breaks her heart. And a son's silence can be more cruel than any insult. That night, I wrote a letter. Amy, if you can read this, please forgive me. I failed to be your voice. I failed to be your shelter. I failed to be your son. I folded the paper, but I had no address to send it to. My wife packed a bag during one of our arguments. If you don't forget her, she said, then forget me this time. I didn't stop her because deep inside, I knew I had already lost the most important woman of my life, and fate was not done punishing me yet. My wife left the house quietly, no drama, no apology, no regret. She took her clothes, her jewelry, and her pride. Before leaving, she turned once and said, you chose memories over me. I didn't reply because deep down, I knew the truth. I chose silence over my mother, and that sin had already cost me everything. When the door closed behind her, the house felt strangely calm, empty but honest. 2 weeks later, my phone rang late at night. Unknown number. Is this her son? A weak voice asked. My heart stopped. Yes, I whispered. I'm her son. There was a pause. She used to talk about you, the voice continued. She stayed at a charity shelter for old women. My hands trembled. Please, I begged, tell me where she is. The woman hesitated. She isn't here anymore. The world went silent. The next morning, I went to the shelter. The air smelled of medicine and sadness. An elderly caretaker recognized me immediately. You're late, she said softly. She waited for you every day. My legs gave up. I sat down, unable to speak. She fell ill during winter. The caretaker continued. We tried our best. She never complained. I asked the question I was afraid of. Did she ask for me? The caretaker nodded. Double quotes. Her last words were, don't blame my son. He's a good boy. That sentence broke me. They showed me her belongings. A small bag, 2 dresses, a worn prayer mat, and a folded piece of paper. My hands shook as I opened it. It was written in her weak handwriting. My son, if you ever read this, don't cry. I know life is difficult. I forgive you before you ask. May God protect you. I am proud of you always. I couldn't read further. Tears blurred everything. She forgave me. Even after everything, I stood in front of her grave later that day. No family, no crowd, just me and my regret. I'm here, Amy, I whispered. I came, but too late. The wind answered me. Silenced, I placed my forehead on the cold earth. For the first time in my life, I felt truly orphaned. That night, I returned to the empty house. I sat where she used to pray. I ate the food she once cooked. I slept in the room she cleaned with love. And I understood something every son must learn before it's too late. A wife may come and go. The world may change. But a mother's place can never be replaced. After my mother's burial, life continued. But not for me. People said, be strong. Others said, time will heal. They were wrong. Time doesn't heal guilt. It teaches you how to live with it. Every morning I woke up and instinctively called out, Amy. Then I remembered. There was no answer anymore. I didn't change the house. Her prayer mat stayed where it was. Her cup remained on the shelf. Her shawl still hung behind the door. Not because I was hopeful, but because removing them felt like erasing her sometimes. I sat alone and spoke to her. I went everywhere. Amy, I searched every road. I just didn't reach you in time. The walls listened, but they never replied. At night, memories returned without mercy. Her tired smile, her quiet sacrifices, her last look at the door. I dreamed of her often. She never blamed me in those dreams. She only looked at me with the same gentle eyes. And that hurt more than anger ever could. A year later, I wrote something not for myself but for others. If your mother is alive, don't wait for tomorrow. Don't choose comfort over conscience. Don't stay silent when she is hurt, because one day, you will search for her, and only regret will answer. I shared my story, not to gain sympathy but to save someone else from my fate. I lost my mother. I lost my marriage. I lost my peace. But more than that, I lost the right to say, my mother is waiting for me, because now, I am the one waiting. Waiting for forgiveness I already received. Waiting for a voice I will never hear again. Today, when I see an old woman on the street, I lower my gaze in shame because somewhere in the world, a mother walked away crying, and her son stayed silent. If this story touched your heart, remember, a mother doesn't need luxury. She doesn't need praise. She only needs respect and protection. Don't let your silence become her goodbye.